It's actually an honor to introduce Mr. Akshey Krishna Venkatesh, the founder and principal architect of AK Architects. AK Architects is a Chennai-based practice we established in 2018. It is the vision to merge global design sensibilities with India's rich cultural identity. In just a few years, Akshey has built a portfolio that spans public infrastructure, cultural landmarks, civic markets, and private developments, shaping the way cities like Chennai experiences architecture. So when I say Chennai, I don't know if many of you have known about a centenary park called Kalainar Centenary Park. How many of you have visited that? Yeah. So this developing ventures ranging from Pokemon-inspired trading card game to an AI-powered grading tool for collectibles. We are delighted to invite Mr. Akshey Krishna for his address on India's blueprint for the world, leading global architecture with innovation and heritage.
Thank you. Really, it's been a long day. I was first worried that I was going before the colonel. Then I was worried that I was going after the colonel. Thanks to Prithvik that I got a good spot. I think I have a presentation. Can you just roll it? Perfect. Okay, so my topic today is India's blueprint for the world, a leading global architecture with innovation and heritage. So very, very technical. So when I was in college, they taught me something. When you forget to remember your past, you're condemned to repeat it, right? But that doesn't work like that in architecture. 2000 years ago, we built mega structures. And you know that the LIC building is the tallest building which we built in 2000 years ago. It's ridiculous. And what a small country like Albania, which does not have history at all, it has a 60 or 70-year-old history, is building super towers, is building structures that we wish we can imagine and put it on paper. So today my topic is very tricky, and it is not a technical presentation. It's a story. It's my story. It's my story. I'm trying to create change in a city like Chennai. I'm working with the government very hard, but I'm working with the government and trying to create change. This, at the end of the presentation, if it inspires you to create more talents that will work with the government, work with policies, work with the city, I'd be really happy. So before we start, how many of you teach design courses in your institutions? Architecture, anything like that. Okay, so we will call all of you enablers, right? So you are the ones who are going to create the next generation of designers, right? The presentation is going to be just two parts. I'm going to talk about exposure, I'm going to talk about opportunity. These are the only two things that matter. Skill, talent, competence, everything can be built. So before we go into it, who am I? I am Akshey Krishna, I'm 33 years old. I was born in Mylapore, I was raised in Madras, and except for my 7 years in the Netherlands, I thrived only in Madras, and that's how much my exposure was. So everyone says, the world is your canvas, go paint it. I beg to differ. I think you are the canvas. Whatever you see is the paint, and you are the painting as well. So I was born in a very traditional locality called Mylapore, and I went to school to Vidya Mandir. That's how I know Prithvik and Prithvik. So the only architecture exposure I had was watching the MRPS rail being built from my science class. So all that I went to was the Kabaleshwar temple. I've seen Agraharam houses, and this is the only exposure I had when I joined architecture. But once I finished architecture, I went to this place, beautiful place, it's magical. It's called Delft. It's in the Netherlands. It is one of the best universities that teach architecture. And Delft actually taught me two things. One is to design boldly, and another is to cycle after having 2 beers without following it down camera. From Delft, I went on to a company called MVRD. All the images that I'm showing you are the ones in which I've been a part of. So all these buildings are complete, and I was a part of the design team. So this is called the Boymans Museum. So I worked with a company which was mad. They did not design anything normal, right? So the brief that was given to them was, I need to see the skyline of Rotterdam. So what will a natural designer do? We build a tower, 40 floors, do a beautiful deck on top of it, and we'll say, go enjoy the sky. They created a mirror. So when you stand in front of the mirror, you see the entire skyline of Rotterdam. So that's how mad and crazy they were. Just imagine me doing this in Chennai. The Vastu guys will kill me. Not even one apartment will sell, right? So this is called the Valley. It's in Amsterdam. It's complete. I was a part of the design team. So someone was talking about vertical cities and we need to start doing it. The Europeans have already started doing it. Right? This is a project called Vigo City. It talks about coexisting and co-living. Just imagine if you walk a flight of stairs down, you can go to a bowling alley. You climb 2 stairs up, you go to your dorm. Everything is vertical. So this is one of the most interesting. This takes a separate presentation by itself, but if you get a chance, just Google Vigo City because it's very, very interesting and we need to start doing this. So from Delft, I came back to India. I started a company called AK Architects. We are 15 people now and we've been in business for 7 years. We've been very fortunate, we've got good opportunities, we've done a lot of projects in and across. The second topic today is opportunity, right? Opportunity is not a door that you wait to open, it's the door that you build. You can find opportunity even in loss, you can find opportunity even in failure. A small story, okay? Very small, I'll run through it quickly. So there is this archer, you know who an archer is, right? A guy who wields a bow and an arrow and shoots. So he is the best archer in the world. He goes around cities challenging the other archers for a competition, wins over them. On his journey, he enters the city, where at the entrance, he sees thousands of bullseyes. You know what bullseyes are, right? And the arrow is banned in the center. He gets worried. There is an archer better than him, right? So he calls a villager and asks him, who did this? Can you please take me to him or her? And when the villager takes him to that person, he is shocked. It is a 6-year-old girl. He loses all shame and he sits with her and asks her, how did you do it? To which she laughed and replies, sir, I take the bow. I take it in my left hand, I grip it fantastically well. I take the perfect arrow, which is straight. I take a big aim and then I release the arrow. And wherever the arrow goes and lands, I draw a bullseye arrow. That is opportunity. Right? You create opportunities. I'm going to talk to you about 3 opportunities in my life. If I am standing here, if I am designing those buildings, it's because of these 3 opportunities. I think Mr. Ritvik remembers this day. So in the Netherlands, you have to get credits to pass. Okay, so I won't call myself innocent. I was ignorant. I did not know the minimum number of credits to pass. That is how ignorant I was. So I was down by 3 credits and they said you can't graduate now. You need to graduate 6 months later. I had to pay about 10,000 euros extra to stay there. Ridiculous, right? I had already taken a loan and a gone there. When I was in my lowest point in life, a person came to me and said, I might not be able to solve your issues, but I work for a company called MBR and they take about 5 interns every year. If you do really well, I can put you into it. And that is how I joined MBR. It was all by accident. An opportunity that came out of failure. Right? Second opportunity involves people in this room. So I call it the Ibis Upadesam. Upadesam means Jnana, right? So in the Kurukshetra, Arjuna is on the chariot. And the chariot rider is Parthasarathi, right? And Parthasarathi constantly gives him Jnana. And that is how the Bhagavad Gita came out. Right? In my case also, my chariot rider was Mr. Parthasarathi. Right? So when Ritvik first came to the Netherlands and I was going to meet him in a hotel, the first thing he tells me is, we've lost a bag. The bag had 2 laptops, it had money, it had so and so. I was so down, this is the first time I'm meeting him and what a bad thing has come to. And we went to the police station, we made complaints and everything. And I don't know if you've ever seen Partha sir like this. Right? I saw him in a different way. At the end of the day, we sat down, Ritvik and I grabbed a pizza. Mr. Parthasarathi had a glass of wine in his hand and spoke to me for 40 minutes. That 40 minutes changed my life. Really changed. He was raw. He spoke what entrepreneurship is. He spoke to me what it is to build a country like India. Right? And it inspired me so much that I came back to India. I had a fantastic job. I came back to India and I landed a federal house. I said, boss, I'll come back. Now give me an opportunity. Shamelessly. And the first ever project that I did in this country was his house. And I'm extremely grateful to him. So the third opportunity was very, it was an opportunity that I went behind and I wanted to get it. So I get a call saying that the Tamil Nadu government is not going to employ PWD engineers anymore. They are going to employ architects who have international exposure. But the thing that we can't guarantee you is money. We give you a project, you give us a DPR, but we won't give you money. What a deal, right? So I said, why not? What the hell? So the first site that was given to me was in Gopalapur. Right? It was one street away from my college. And I said, it's so close, why don't we do it? So the brief was to build a boxing stadium for 1,000 people. Right? Before I started this project, the number of projects that private architects had done with the government was 6 in 50 years. Right? But what happened was, we executed. This is a 24,000 square feet boxing arena, fully air conditioned in Gopalapur. Built at a cost of 7 crores. Let me tell you the mathematics behind it. You build a house for 24,000 square feet, multiplied by 4,000 rupees. It will cost you 9.6 crores. This stadium costed lesser than building a house. It is not only about designing structures, it's about designing structures sustainably. The proudest moment for me was when the CM came out and he said, I envision the next Olympic medal coming from this facility. If at all that happens, I will have my huge financial thank you. So this is how the boxing stadium looks. It's fully functional. Even now, if you go to Gopalapuram, you will see kids practicing. This is becoming a center for boxing, which makes me really proud. The second project is my biggest. It's called the Kalainar Centenary Park. It is 7 acres of prime land and 50 crores budget. So I could play, like whatever I had in mind, whatever I wanted to do in the Netherlands, I could do it here. Again, we were given an award and we felt stated. The most interesting thing is that that's a 10,000 square feet glass house. When I first proposed that, they laughed at me. They told me, why do you need a glass house? You need a glass house in Europe because you have to maintain the temperature for tulips and all those things to grow. Chennai is already hot, it is 40 degrees, why do you need it? That is where smart engineering comes in. This glass house maintains a temperature of 17 degrees and we have flowers and plants from across Australia, Europe, everywhere here. And also this, as market dynamics, is earning 1 crore rupees a month. The government found it so profitable that they are repeating the same concept in 5 different cities, 3 of which we are designing. Finally, this is the latest project that we finished. Just rub the Tamil off top and replace this Suzuki Swift with a Bugatti, and you cannot believe that this is in Chennai, forget it. Right? So when we first proposed this project, the government absolutely shot it down. This is how it looks. So they shot it down saying that, what nonsense are you designing? You can't design all this. Firstly, the contractors can't build it. Secondly, the MTC can't maintain it. Thirdly, people will laugh at it. We said, give us a chance. Let us do it. And they said, we can't give you 25 crores to do this. Can you imagine how much cost this was? 6 crores. 14,000 square feet, entirely steel, 6 crores. So we do many more projects. We do a lot of private projects in and across the city. And we believe in certain things that we are going to talk about after this. Okay, so who all has played this game called Roulette? No one's played Roulette? Okay, it's a wheel which has numbers and it's red and black. So it's a wheel which has numbers and red and black. And the ball rolls around, and when it falls on something, you get paid, right? So there is something called a gambler's fallacy. What is the difference between an investor and a gambler? A gambler always thinks that the streak will reverse. For example, you are going up, and what he thinks is the streak will reverse. But what an investor does is he runs the streak. He goes along the streak. Thirdly, who is an entrepreneur? You need to be equal parts of a gambler and an investor. You need to stand out when it comes to taking projects, but you need to follow the trends to adapt as well. It is very important because all of you guys are not creating architects or designers, you're creating entrepreneurs. Because the only big way an architect can come out is becoming an entrepreneur. Okay, so now I just want to talk to you about 3 projects that I did with MBRDB and very close to my heart, and also small stories. So this is called the market hall. When I joined the company, they were finishing this, so I was part of the last stage. Can you believe that everything around is residential apartments, and in the middle is a huge market? So when the market closes, all the residential apartments have a private window onto a lit market. This is beautiful by design for 2 reasons. One, because it looks beautiful. The second, because coexistence of commercial and residential, which does not exist in India at all. So these are things that we need to look into. After that, we did some very big projects. I did a project in Abu Dhabi with about 1,200 apartments and 7 towers. The next one is the most interesting. I have a very small story here. I was in my 2nd year of college. So they gave us a brief saying that design a building for your favorite celebrity, right? I designed a building in the shape of a guitar, and I told them I designed it for Elvis Presley. In front of 80 people, my teacher told me, so if I ask you to design a hospital, will you design it like a kidney? That killed the child in me. So I was like, why not? But when 80 people were laughing at me, I said, I'm never going to design a hospital like a kidney. So when I was at MBRDB, so this is in a city called Tirana. It's the capital of Albania. They have a very small history, but they have a hero called Skender. So they wanted to build a tower. When everyone was discussing, I randomly, without knowing, I said, why don't we design it like a head? I imagined that they will laugh me out of the room. The boss turned at me and said, why don't you do it? And today it's built. The shape of the head. Never kill the child in someone, right? Because their ideas are their ideas. There are no right ideas, wrong ideas. You can only guide them about how to use their ideas and make it executable. Of course, you don't see it so well. It's a very big tower in Pune, which we recently completed. This is also a Chinese library. I was not behind the design of it, but it exactly looks like the inner of your keyboard, right? And all the books, you have books till the top, and there's this beautiful eyeball where LED projections are possible. So why I'm showing you all these projects is you have the power to either encourage them or kill the idea, right? Never kill the idea. You allow them to be who they are, and then let them decide what they want to do. Okay, the Indian model and the market. So I love this quote about from a book called Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. It says, when you want something, the entire universe conspires and help you achieve. When I first heard this quote, I laughed. So I want a samosa today. Why is the whole universe helping me achieve? But it works. The manifesting that you talked today was spoken by Paulo Coelho way back, and it really works. And in the Indian market especially. This is a concept that I learned from Ritwik as early as 45 days ago. We were sitting in a Chinese shop. He was having soup, I was having momos. So he taught me something which again is shaping my life. He told me about the noise and signal theory. I'm not going to go into the theory, but I'm going to tell you that Indian market is 90% noise, 10% signal. And I'm being kind to the market, if not more. Right? So how many of you, when you teach these design courses, start with sketching? Okay, fair. So when I was in first year of college, a teacher came to me and said, you will never be an architect. If you don't know how to sketch a shadow that is falling off an apple, you will never be an architect. That day I questioned her and I got sent out of class, that's a different issue. But saying that, why do you need to know shadow or sketching to be an architect? This is just one example. I believe, and I'm also working with Ritwik and Ritwik right now to make the syllabus tight. We need a conscious realignment. We should not be looking at syllabuses 50 years ago. When there was only pencil, there was no AutoCAD, no Revit, no 3D, no AI, nothing. We are still in the market where we are teaching all those things which are absolutely unnecessary. All that you need is passion. I truly believe that the mouse is your system. You have tools today that can make you a much better architect, much better than people who can sketch beautifully like artists. Just to run something, okay, this is only Chennai, I'm talking about Chennai. The market size. These are government projects. About 2,000 crores worth of government projects are being built every year, and they need architects and designers. Private market is 100 times bigger. It's about 2.67 lakh crores per year. And just imagine, just put a number to it. 6% is an architect's fee. A lot of people who get into architecture and design complain saying that, sir, there's no money. No, what will you do? I won't find jobs. But look at the market size. Naturally, there's so much supply, there should be demand. So what you need to do is, you need to really only check for passion and teach them conviction. They should not have nouns without it. When I went to a college as a visiting professor, and they told me, why don't you give them a one-day design topic? Which I laughed first. I said, how can a person design a building in one day? Secondly, I told them, okay, design a monument for your favorite architect. Okay? 40 of them, 39 of them designed it for architects in America, India, everywhere. This was one girl who stood up and said, I designed a monument for myself. That is the amount of conviction. You need to know that you are going to be the best architect when you walk out of the school. So only teach them conviction. Again, a concept which I learned from is passion is obsession. We Indians are obsessed with money. Right? What is your turnover? What is your income? How many lakhs per year? You don't make good architects by teaching them to be obsessive. You need to only teach them to be passionate. Passion is all that matters. Passionate architects are the ones who are going to redevelop your entire world. Forget Europe, forget America, forget Africa. We have superb talent in this country. All that we need to do is trigger that passion. Okay, how many of you know what a Pritzker is? No one? How many of you know what an Oscar is? How many of you know what a Grammy is? What a Nobel is? Pritzker is the Nobel Prize for Architecture. About 120 people. Do you know who gives the Pritzker out? The guys who run this hotel. Hyatt Foundation gives the Pritzker every year. 150 recipients are there, out of which there is one Indian. I want to give the Pritzker. Right? I also want a student of CAD Center of Green Zone to win the Pritzker. That's the amount of conviction we should all have. Thank you. That's been my time.
So, I don't know, I think he told about all the buildings that he has designed, barring one building. So, Akshey was the one who also designed our office, the current office. Okay. With that, I would like to call upon stage our chairman, Partha Sir, Ritwik, our Chief Future Officer, to facilitate. Please.